Welcome to Tangent, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. If you came last week, you heard our awesome episode about Alaska and the urban legends there.
Yes, quite awesome.
Again, I'm Austin.
I'm Jack.
Thanks again, guys. We're doing something a little different this week. We wanted to take a break from the many states that we've done, all 2 of them so far.
It's been rough.
And work on a different segment. What are we calling this segment?
We are not, but we can.
Weird crap.
That's it?
That went down. Yep.
Oh. Weird crap that went down. Let's see.
Weird crap that went...
There's no vowels.
Wooktwood.
You need some vowels. Nothing makes sense without a vowel.
Yeah, fine.
We'll think on it.
Yeah, we will.
You'll probably see it in the title. Maybe not. I don't know. You'll see. Surprise.
All right, well, we're doing something different this week. And we wanted to just go over some weird cases, I guess you could say. Yeah, cases
just
or...
really strange occurrences, no matter where they are. Kind of like something that we thought deserved its own episode. We didn't want to get to that state, or some of these that we have planned aren't even in the states. So we just wanted to make room for them, and we believe that it warrants its own episode.
Right. So this first one, it's been pretty heavily covered on other shows and stuff, but we wanted to take a deep dive into it. The Elisa Lam case. It's pretty freaky. And this was like the first podcast I heard that was in the realm of kind of like true crime. So it holds a special place in my heart.
Well, it's weird because we can't even for sure call it true crime.
Right.
Because
it could just be a suicide.
It could be paranormal. It could be many things, which is super weird. This is a super messed up everything. The story, like, basically, it's kind of graphic.
Yeah, you could say that it's pretty graphic. I think the worst part is, like, you read this story and it just makes you feel bad. Like, it's just creepy. It's gross and graphic. It's sad.
Basically, that's your warning, basically.
Yeah.
It's nothing terrible. Just be prepared for some not great stuff.
Right. So Elisa Lam, basically the background story is there was a Canadian, she's Chinese-Canadian, so her parents are Chinese, but she was born in Canada. She was a student at University of British Columbia up there, and I think she ended up dropping out of college and just decided she wanted to go on a trip and, like, see...
Did she drop out or did she take a break?
I think she just took a break. And she wanted to see the West Coast and travel down the West Coast of Canada and the U.S. So she was, like, pretty far into her trip, and she was down in California in L.A. at the Cecil Hotel, which kind of has its own interesting backstory, and we can talk about that a little bit.
I looked into that a little bit, actually. And it's still there. Did you know that? The Cecil Hotel?
Yeah, but it's closed,
it's not. No, it's not called. They rebranded it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not called the Cecil Hotel anymore. I mean, for obvious reasons, they have rebranded completely. They closed it down for a little just to renovate, and then they reopened, new management, new name, everything.
You remember the new name of it?
I could find it pretty easily.
Yeah, because I remember this was back in 2013, January of 2013, that the Elisa Lam case happened. And back then, like, it was a dump. Like, it was a terrible, like, a low, really low rates for rooms at the hotel. And actually, during the Great Depression, they used it. It was, like, the rates were low enough that families would be able to more afford living there than they would living, like, in-house. Sorry, I unplugged my phone, and the computer beeped at me. It's going to beep in a second, because I'm going to plug it back in.
It's now called Stay on Main. Would you quit messing with the phone cable?
Sorry, your phone cable has a short, dude. Something's wrong with it.
It's a brand new cable, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I found it in a box.
Well, back to the hotel.
Sorry.
So, it was a dump. Used it back in the Great Depression to house people long term because it was so cheap.
And this is in L.A. Did we get that?
Yeah, it's in L.A.
I don't know if we said that.
I'm pretty sure it's like downtown L.A. area.
Yeah.
It's right in like L.A., kind of like Hollywood area. So it's pretty famous. The main like thing that put it on the scene of being so famous was Aleister Crowley. If you don't know who he is, he was kind of the father of modern Satanism. Really creepy, really evil.
Just a bad dude.
Yeah, just a bad man. And the legend is that he went to this hotel and performed some ritual or black magic and supposedly opened a portal to hell or to another dimension at this hotel. And ever since he did that, I don't know the backstory of before he did that, but ever since then, there have been tons of like suicides. I think there were 64 suicides since then, and then a bunch of murders as well. As also during that time, what's his first name? Something Ramirez. The Night Stalker, one of the most famous serial killers. I think it's Richard Ramirez. He stayed there for a while he was kind of on his reign of terror and killing people. Yeah, Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. So he stayed there for a while. It's thought that he maybe killed some of his victims there. And then also Jack Unterweger. He was an Austrian serial killer, and he was also there at one point, I think, in the mid to late 80s. He stayed there for a while. So just kind of a creepy place that was conducive to really bad things that happened. And a lot of people will say, like, oh, it's just a coincidence that, like, all this, death and killing and suicide, like, happened at the hotel. But it's kind of weird. Like, that doesn't seem like a coincidence to me at all.
I'm looking at a list right now of all. It's called the timeline of suicides and other deaths at Cecil Hotel. There's a decent amount, not like a butt ton, but there are a lot, more than should be unnoticed.
Right.
And they all started in looks like 1931, and the most recent one recorded was. It looks like Elisa Lam, who we are actually talking about today. Actually, never mind, there's no one after that.
Yeah, I would imagine
2015.
2015 was the last death?
The last death at Cecil Hotel, but it's not Cecil Hotel anymore. So
really?
I don't know if
Elisa Lam died in 2013, so that's interesting.
Yeah, there's one in 2015. It says the body of a 28-year-old male was found outside the hotel. That looks like he jumped. But it says right here, cause of death not determined. I don't think they solved half of these. But
yeah, so...
Oh, and another kind of cool thing. Have you heard of the Black Dahlia?
The Black Dahlia? Yeah.
Dahlia. I never get that right. Some say that she was last seen at that hotel.
Yeah, I'd heard that.
But a lot of people say it's not true, and the other half people say it is true. There's no evidence, but it is interesting to think that was part of. That's a whole different story. You'll have to look that one up.
Yeah, I know that one's pretty famous, but I've never
I don't know much about
it or researched it, so I can't tell you anything about that. But yeah, so the Night Stalker Richard Ramirez stayed there. It says he stayed there for a few weeks, and they say he may have engaged in part of his killing spree while staying there. And then Jack Unterweger, this Australian guy, he was there in...
Australian?
Austrian, sorry.
Austrian. I'm like, Australian?
Yeah, Unterweger is a common Australian name.
Good day, mate.
From down under. Yep. Jack Unterweger. Yep. So he stayed there in 1991, and they think that he stayed there because he was, like, trying to pay tribute to Richard Ramirez, another serial killer who stayed there.
It's a weird reason.
And he had 3 confirmed prostitute kills while he was there, and then was convicted shortly after that and ended up hanging himself. I couldn't find if he hung himself. Well, no, it wouldn't have been at the hotel because he was convicted, so he would have been probably prison.
Probably.
But yeah, so that's where kind of his last string of murders was. And then, yeah, ever since then, I mean, it's just been, a place conducive to really bad, like, feelings, really bad behavior by people, a lot of suicides, a lot of death. So, coincidence or not, it's just really creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
yeah, it's just stay away from that hotel. Get a real hotel. Yeah. Pay for a good one.
Yeah, it's a piece of garbage. Don't go there.
It might be better now as the, what did I say, the Park View?
Stay on Main.
Wow, was way off.
Way off, yeah.
I wasn't even close.
I don't even think you said Parkview earlier. I don't know where you got that, but...
I don't know, probably from work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe. But so Elisa Lam, she goes there in 2013, and I couldn't really find anything that said if she knew the history of the hotel, but I'm sure she did. I'm sure at that point it might have become like a tourist attraction, like people wanted to go there and see apparitions, because there's tons of reports of like people seeing apparitions or ghosts and like feeling weird things. So,
and is this the origin of the elevator game? This place?
I don't think it's the origin.
Okay, but it does have something to do with the elevator game.
Yes.
And we will get into that later, but it is something that people would have known about in 2013.
Right.
Maybe not as well now because of Elisa Lam, but definitely known.
Right.
Maybe not. I don't know. To an outsider, maybe not.
Yeah,
in Canada.
I actually don't know where the elevator game started. I think it might have actually been outside of the U.S.
Hold, please. Keep talking. I will let you know.
So yeah, one of the theories is that Elisa Lam stayed there because she knew about all the weird stuff and she was kind of looking out for it. Just remember, she was traveling by herself, so she didn't have anyone else that was like staying with her, as far as we know.
And yeah, no, not that we know. But was she kind of pup partier too? Maybe rather outgoing.
Yeah,
I mean, she is traveling into another country by herself, and how old was she? 20?
She was.
21?
Let's see. She was. I don't know. Let me look it up real quick. I do know though that she was medicated for depression. Like she was prescribed medication for depression. She was really depressed. She had a blog. She was a frequent blogger. So yeah, she was fairly social.
Would you quit doing that?
Sorry. Okay, last time.
Just leave the phone plugged in.
Dang it. Okay. So she was. Oh my gosh. She was 21 years. So she was born in 91 and then died in 2013. So she was fairly social. She kept a consistent blog. Pretty outgoing, but she did suffer from depression and anxiety. And from what I read, she had a prescription for it, but
she definitely did.
Yeah, I don't know. They couldn't find any of those drugs in her system when they did the autopsy.
Right. So there's talk of whether she did take them. She did have them because we know that she would call back to her family every day. I do remember that she did have nightly calls with her parents, and eventually that's what led to the initial investigation, is when she didn't call home for like 2 or 3 days. But yes, they didn't find any of the drugs in her system, so it could be she wasn't on them. Maybe she ran out. Maybe she was on them. Maybe they weren't testing for the right stuff. It's interesting.
Right. But I mean, for all intents and purposes, she stayed there. We don't know the exact reason why, but she was young. She was on a trip. I'm sure it was just kind of a fun trip to go out and just kind of have fun and party and do whatever she wanted to do. So she might have been there just seeking out the kind of the myths and legends of the hotel.
Maybe.
But
we should go there.
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. Hill trip somewhere else then.
Yep. So she goes to this hotel, and the last footage that they have of her life is her in this elevator. And it was, we don't know what floor she was on when she got on the elevator.
They didn't release that.
Yeah.
Not publicly anyway.
Or at least that we could find.
Yeah. They didn't release much, period. I'm surprised they even let this out.
Right. So the elevator, we have footage of her in the elevator, and she's acting pretty weird. We'll get into that in a little bit. But then she leaves the elevator. I think there was about 5 minutes of footage that they released, and I don't think we can have access to it all anymore. I tried looking it up, and there's only like clips of it. Mm-hmm. But there's about 5 minutes of footage that was originally released from the inside of the elevator. Just some weird behavior, and then the footage ended. We don't know anything that happened after that until about 3 weeks after she died.
Was it really 3 weeks?
Yeah, it was 3 weeks.
Holy crap.
This is disgusting. Like,
are you talking about how they discovered it?
Yeah, this made me sick when I found out. But the way that they found her was that 3 weeks later, a bunch of hotel guests were complaining about water pressure, and some were even complaining about like discolored water and like really bad tasting water. And so
Like it was looking blackish and it tasted terrible.
Yeah,
like right out of the tap.
Yeah, they said it tasted really sweet and just did not taste natural.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that makes me even more uncomfortable.
Right. So the maintenance man, like Santiago Ramirez, I think his name was, or Santiago something, goes up to the roof and
that's where they keep the water tanks.
The water tanks, yeah. So he goes to check the water tank, opens the water tank, and there's just a face of a dead body staring back at him. And so then they discovered that it was her body. She'd been in there for about 3 weeks. And the water, I guess, like helped preserve her body fairly well. But it had been decomposing in there, so...
And that's what ended up making it into what people were drinking.
Yeah, that makes
disgusting.
Me sick every time I hear that. But that's how they found her. And they originally ruled the death, and it's still ruled as an accidental drowning.
And that's where things get real weird.
Yeah.
So, first of all, the last footage we have of her is acting very strangely. Like, real kind of weird. It doesn't make any sense on an elevator.
Yeah.
And then 3 weeks later, she's drowned in the water tank. And not only is she in there, her clothes are in there with her, correct?
Right. So
but they're not on her.
Her clothes had been removed. So she was completely nude. And some people say that, like, with how her body was in the water, that being in the water for so long could have caused her clothes to, like, slip off of her body.
Wasn't it like an 8-foot tall water tank, I think is what they said?
Yeah. No, I think it was more like 20 feet tall.
Whoa, okay. It's tall. It's taller than an average human, so you would have to tread water.
Yeah, let me see if I can source that.
So they were saying, originally you think, okay, someone removed the clothes from her and put her in there, because that's kind of seeming what most people were thinking, but they ended up saying that it was the fact that her clothes were getting soaked, and it was harder for her to tread water, so she removed them herself.
Yeah, so here's a picture of the water tanks.
Oh, those are massive.
There were 4 of them, and they're on like a platform that's probably 3-4 feet off the ground.
No, it comes up it's like half of that, dude.
Yeah, it's probably 3 feet because he's probably 5.
3.5 feet. I'm gonna say 3.5 feet.
Okay, and then the tanks are at least 10 to 12 feet tall, at least, I would say.
I'd go on the safe side and say 10 feet tall.
Okay, so I mean, roughly 15 to 20 feet up is the top of the tank, and the hatch to get in is on the top. So her body was found very top. Yeah, I'm looking at this picture real quick, and it's just interesting. But let's pull up the video and watch it for a minute. What we have, can we pull it up on your...
Yeah, let's do it.
Your PC here. We're going to kind of just watch the video. We've watched it a few times, and just kind of our natural reaction to it as we watch it. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, just go on YouTube or Google and type in Elisa Lam elevator footage.
Sorry, I have a really loud mechanical keyboard. Ignore that.
It is pretty weird. Go to Elisa Lam video. I think that's the one.
It's got 23 million views, and it's posted by a man named Dennis Romero. Who's Dennis Romero?
I don't know. Maybe he knows something.
It's 4 minutes long. Oh, what about the 7-minute one?
That one's like
it's BuzzFeed. Absolutely
series, yeah.
not. Okay. So it doesn't have any sound, but we're gonna try to walk you through what the heck is going on in this very low quality image.
So yeah, she walks in the elevator, the door is still open, and she's bent over pressing a bunch of buttons.
Okay, well, we gotta pause right there. This is already weird.
Looks like she presses about 5 or 6 buttons, and they're all...
on the left side.
Yeah.
So is it, 2 rows of buttons going down? Or columns, I guess?
Yeah, probably 2 rows of floors. I know the Cecil has 12 floors, so I would guess 2 rows of 6 buttons, probably.
So, yeah, she's bent over,
yeah, she's
pretty far.
Hunched over.
And, she's, I don't know, a foot maybe from the wall, and she's pressed at least 5 of the floor buttons.
Yeah.
That I can see. This is pretty low quality video, though. Okay.
Yeah, and they're all straight down as well.
Okay, so she gets up and stands in the corner. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to pause that. And she just stands there. She's doing nothing.
She walks out to the front of the elevator, kind of tentatively.
Oh,
that's-
wow.
yeah.
She kind of lurched out and looked like to the left and the right really fast. Like she was
She lurched
expecting something there.
Right. She lurched out super quick and just popped her head left and right. Now she's hiding.
Oh, she's definitely hiding in the corner of the elevator. She's pushed her back up right where the buttons are. And she's peeking out again. She's peeking out.
You can't really see her facial expression super well because it's so blurry, but it's just, I mean, you can tell she's hiding for sure.
We can put a man on the moon, but in 2013 we can't have a quality.
Quarter on a potato.
So she's still looking out. Oh, what was that? She jumped.
It looked like she,
What's she doing?
she's like box stepping, like in a box.
She'll like step in and out of the elevator. And okay, she stepped out of the elevator and now she's out of the shot.
Right. She's just like stepping sideways and straight forward and backward.
And she's just standing there. Oh, she's doing her.
Like,
Okay, so before we get to this part, notice that during this whole time, we've been watching this for 1 minute and 15 seconds so far. During this whole time, the doors of the elevator have not tried to shut once. Normally, it takes 10 seconds, if that, for them to close on their own.
If that, and that's if you're not pressing the button.
She hasn't touched any buttons since the beginning.
Right. I have heard like a theory about that the elevator was so old that if you pressed multiple buttons, it would just like shock it and it wouldn't know what to do. But
it looks like the same elevator I'd find in hotels today.
Right. Like, I don't think that would cause an issue.
I don't think it would do what that guy was saying.
Right. So yeah, it's still open. She's out of the elevator right now.
Okay, so this is where things get freaky. To walk us through this.
So she's got her hand, you can't really see, but she has her hand up on her head. You can just see like
she's
her
still
elbow.
out in the hallway.
All you can see right now is her elbow, but she has her arm up. Now she's out of the shot. She's coming back in.
Oh, she looks distressed.
Yeah.
She looks freaked out.
She kind of had her hands on her head and like looked kind of
she's pushing
frustrated or exasperated.
She's pushing every single button on the elevator now.
Yeah. She's pushing all of them.
She's pushing them all multiple times. She's like frantically like pressing every single button at least 3 or 4 times. Yep. Oh, she's still going. Okay, now she's leaving the elevator again.
Yeah.
Just standing on the outside, kind of looking a little cautious.
Now she's doing weird with this. So this is the creepiest part. She does these weird things with her hands where her hands just go super rigid.
It looks like almost she's having a seizure.
Right. Pause. You should pause it when it shows her hands again.
Okay.
Yeah, right there. Oh,
I don't like that.
She's got her arms kind of like bent, and she has her hands like straight out. Her fingers are all straight out, and she's just moving them in like these unnatural ways.
It looks like she's trying to summon rain.
Yeah, it looks like some like ritualistic like dance move or something.
It's freaky.
Like, it's weird. And that to me is the creepiest part.
Oh yeah, like, and out of the blue, she just walks out of the elevator and just starts doing this really weird hand.
Right.
Like, her hands don't look natural.
Like
the hands themselves are not bent in normal ways. It looks like
her hands look like, I don't know. Yeah, like there's some force that's like stretching them out. It almost looks like her hands are like bent upwards.
Yeah, like too much, like hyperextended.
Right.
Almost.
Yeah. That's
and
a good word.
both of her hands are doing it, and then while her hands are doing that, her arms are just kind of like.
Yeah, keep playing
slowly waving around. We're gonna start it up again.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
So weird.
That's freaky.
It's so weird. And she's like looking down the hallway while she does it too. So we don't know if anyone else is there.
Oh, she's doing like finger things. She's summoning demons.
Looks like she's doing like
straight
sign
summoning
language or something.
demons.
Yeah, she's doing something weird with her hands. Okay, she's got her hands down now. She's walking out of sight. Oh wait, go back.
Oh, is that the weird foot thing?
Yeah, the weird foot. So watch right here. So her left foot is clearly out of shot.
Yes, her left foot is out of shot. Yes.
And then
she takes... put it on half speed?
Yeah.
I can put it on half speed.
Okay, there's potentially another foot.
Oh, dude, we're in 144p. That is so low. Oh. That's the highest it'll go.
Wow.
Okay, we're at half speed.
Okay, so she takes a step forward with her right foot.
Okay.
And watch like in between her right foot and where her left foot would be. And there's, like, you can barely see something cropping out from the side of the elevator entrance.
Okay, so she's just standing.
Okay, right. It'll be, like, right here. Right there. Yep.
Okay.
Right there. I don't know if that's her other foot.
If it was her other foot, she took a real janky step out.
Yeah.
Because, look at this. Like, if you're standing like this, you would think your foot would be like right around
like right
here
there.
and take a normal hang left thing. But her foot is, if that is,
her foot's like bent sideways.
It's like her left foot is bent like 90 degrees to the left.
Yeah.
But we can't see the whole thing. All we see is what would be the heel of the foot.
Right.
But I'm not sure that's even her foot. Maybe. It kind of looks like she does take that sharp one, or sharp.
Right, but I think if that was her heel, you might be able to see like the back of her shoe going up, or like her leg, like the back of her calf or something. I mean, it's a tiny little portion of a foot, if it is a foot.
Okay, well, that's just weird. I'm going to go back to full speed now. I'm going to start it back up.
So yeah, potential foot there.
Potential foot.
And then
it does leave like a foot.
Yeah,
it does look like a foot.
She takes a right step, and then that foot goes as well. So that makes sense if it was her left foot. Okay, so she's out of camera now. We can't see
There's
her.
nothing. All we see is the hallway of the hotel, and we're still... And again, the hotel or the elevator doors have not even tried to shut yet.
Right. And no one else has passed the elevator. Like, you don't see anyone else in the footage at all. Okay, so she's still out of the elevator.
Oh, okay. Now the elevator doors are closing. But did you see that?
Go back. Yeah,
that skips hardcore.
That's something I've heard, is that the footage has been messed with.
Yeah, that looks like they took out like
there's like a couple minutes,
frames.
Like we can't see the timestamp on the video because it's too blurry. But
there is a timestamp, but there's no way it's legible.
Right, but that's something that has been like publicized, is that they took out a couple minutes of the footage. So yeah, it definitely skips forward a little bit, and then the elevator door shuts.
Yeah, there's some sort of glitch in the camera, maybe, but
Glitch in the Matrix.
No, that's a great movie. Yeah, so it definitely does some weird thing there.
So we don't even know if
it probably just got camera cut or something, but the reason is who knows why. So now we're just seeing the inside of an empty elevator with the door closed.
How much longer is left on the video? I think that's pretty much the end of it.
There's about 40 seconds left. Oh, it opens back up.
Okay, door opens back up.
Is that the same floor? That looks like a different floor.
Go back and see if the buttons change, because the button would one of the lit up buttons would...
You mean that if it's on a different floor?
Right. Okay, well, if it goes up to that floor, the button would
Okay, but we've got two columns and a horizontal one in this floor. That doesn't look familiar.
Right. Yeah. So, wait.
Oh, no, it does. That's the same floor.
But I mean,
well, okay,
all the floors are pretty much going to look the same.
Right.
The thing is, though, if it gets up to one of these floors, that button would turn off. The light on the
so if I go before, I'm seeing. Count how many lights are turned on.
I would say 4, potentially 5.
I see 5. If
that fifth one is a button or not.
1, 2, 3, 4. This one here, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's call it a button.
We'll call it a button. So there's 5.
Because if it's not a button, it would still show up later.
It doesn't look like any of them turned off.
Right. Yeah. So it must be the same floor still. Actually, now
I only see 4.
Like there's 4.
Yeah. So I must have missed it. Okay. That's weird. So it opens up to maybe new floor, maybe not, and instantly, like, the door opens, and as soon as it opens all the way, it immediately shuts itself again. Like, It doesn't wait at all.
That is weird.
I've never seen an elevator do anything like that. Okay, yeah, a light just turned off.
Yep.
Oh, and that's completely different paint color.
It went up to a different floor.
That's a different floor.
Okay. So I wonder why she pressed these buttons and she's not on it.
Well, yeah, she's on a different floor, so we don't... Obviously, she's not in the video anymore, but now we're just watching what the elevator's doing, and now it's over.
Okay, so yeah, go watch the video for yourself. It is pretty creepy.
It's called Elisa Lam Video.
Yeah, and there's tons of them. Look for the 4-minute one from Dennis Romero. That's just purely the footage from the elevator.
And nothing else.
Yeah, so one of the main theories of how Elisa Lam, this whole death of Elisa Lam, is called the elevator game, which we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, some people think that she was attempting to play the elevator game, which is... Do you want to tell them, or do you want me to get an official definition?
I'll try and explain it while you look it up. So you look it up.
I have it already.
Basically what it is it's a game where you can go on an elevator that has to be at least 10 stories high, and you press a certain sequence of buttons. I don't know what the sequence is. Does it say that?
It does. Would you like to know?
Yes.
All right, so, and we were talking about the origin earlier. It says it originated in Japan and South Korea.
Right.
So I don't know the actual origin story, but that's where it did start. So what it is basically trying to get to a portal to hell, basically. Is that right?
So I actually heard that it just takes you to another dimensional plane. So it's like
Alright, something.
opening another dimension.
But, sorry, there's hair on my screen. The rules are you go in, you press there's like a ton of rules. Like you go to a certain floor and then you have to do something. Like step 1 is press the 4th floor. Do not proceed if someone enters the elevator or one of the players leaves the elevator. If someone does that, start from the beginning. Like there's just, for each one of these, there's a ton of like stipulations per. So you go 4th floor, 2nd floor, 6th floor, 2nd floor, 10th floor, 5th floor. And then after the 5th floor, it says, if a woman enters the elevator at the 5th floor, do not look at her, do not speak, and do not talk to her. That woman is not a human. If you do, she will decide to keep you for her own.
Yeah.
And then it goes on to say, go to the 1st floor. Do not proceed if someone enters the elevator, blah, blah, blah. The elevator will either ascend or descend. If the elevator reaches the 1st floor, leave and do not look back. If the elevator reaches the 10th floor, leave and do not respond to the woman if she asks, where are you going? Or what's wrong? Her voice will be high when she does that. And then basically, it says the next thing is, you are now in the other world.
Yeah, and so one of the weird things about this game is there are a lot of rules, but I've read tons of like reports or rules about the game. And every time I read them, there's something slightly different. So one of the things that I read is that you have to do it alone. Like no one else can be with you.
That's interesting because that one said you could have other players.
Right. So that we're not sure of, but she was alone. And then also no electronics are allowed, which there was a camera in there, so I don't know how that works. But, and then, yeah, so this person that supposedly comes on what was it, the 10th floor or the 5th floor or something? The woman that gets on.
Oh, she gets on the 5th floor.
The 5th floor. So I read online, and I honestly don't remember the source, but I read that she manifests as like somebody that you would recognize, so that it would be easy to want to talk to her, like an old friend or a roommate or something.
Neighbor. Yeah,
neighbor, but her voice is going to be different, so you'll be able to tell that something's off about it. But yeah, she'll try and get you to talk to her, and if you do, it says she takes you for her own, which is creepy.
There's tips on how to play the game, and tip number 1 is, do not look at the woman, do not speak to the woman. She is not a woman. So, okay. Helpful tips. Tip number 2 is, someone enters, someone leaves. Begin on, I don't know, that's not really a tip, that's just kind of cryptic. Begin again at the 4th floor if someone enters or exits the elevator.
So yeah, this is basically just an attempt to open a portal to another dimension, and when you get there, apparently you're completely on your own in this other dimension.
There is a way back.
How do you get back?
Now you ask me as soon as I exit it. It says, returning to our world. To back to... Wow, that is not good English. To get back to our world, you must go to the same elevator and press the same buttons, only if you leave the 10th floor. And when you reach the 5th floor, press the button for the 1st floor, and the elevator will again begin to ascend to the 10th floor. Press any other floor's button to cancel the ascension. You must press the button before you use to... Wow, it's not good English. You must press the button you use to cancel the ascension before you reach the 10th floor. After you reach the 1st floor, check your surroundings carefully. If anything seems off, even in the smallest of details, do not exit the elevator. If you detect something wrong, repeat step 2 until your surroundings look as if they should. Once confident you have returned to your own world, you may safely exit the elevator. So basically, just do it again. But that's not guaranteed to work.
Right. Well, it sounds like there are some steps that you could mess up in there.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, if this happens, do this. If this happens, do this, and go back to this floor. And so, yeah, that's kind of one of the prevailing theories.
We are in no way condoning that you do this.
Right. We have not done it, and it sounds creepy. So,
might be real, might not. Not our problem.
Yep. If we never see you again and you get sucked into an interdimensional portal, it's your own fault.
Like my old grandpappy used to say, it's not my problem.
Yep. Right. So yeah, that's one of the theories out there of how she disappeared. Is that she was trying to play this game, which kind of lines up with the footage because she's pressing all these buttons.
But she's doing it way wrong.
Right, she's doing it wrong, and...
But, I mean, maybe she's freaked out. Maybe she doesn't know what she's doing. Maybe she's trying to stop playing the game. Again, there's footage that looks like it was cut. So we don't know that for sure.
Right, I never thought of that. Like, maybe she had tried playing it and was freaked out and was trying to go back and was frantic about it or something.
Maybe that was her trying to get back.
Yeah, that's the elevator game, background of that. So next, I mean, we don't see her for like the last minute and a half of the footage. The elevator's closed. We don't see her until she's found in this water tank on the roof 3 weeks later.
3 weeks later.
And the interesting thing was that when they found her, this is graphic, but they found her and her anus was prolapsed, meaning that like the tube inside of her body that is her anus was like basically sucked outside of her body
and inside out.
Yeah, it was basically inside out and outside of her body, and they had ruled her death a dry drowning, meaning that she actually didn't have any water in her lungs. So that's
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, like, I don't know what the deal is with dry drowning or how they...
So what's the cause of death if it isn't water?
Yeah, I don't know. Let me look up more details on dry drowning, because I'm definitely... If you didn't know this, I am not a medical professional. I know my eloquence and vocabulary might lead people to think that I am a doctor. But I am not.
I actually learned how to talk this episode. That's all I'm happy about.
Wait, let's see. Okay, so dry drowning, there is water involved. It said it occurs when water is inhaled through the nose or mouth, causing a spasm in the airway and difficulty breathing. The drowning is called dry because water does not enter the lungs because of spasm of the vocal cords.
So basically you start inhaling water, but you start coughing it back up, but that spasm of the coughing ends up killing you?
It's more like suffocation than it is drowning. Because drowning water enters your lungs and you can't breathe
anymore. It just blocks the airway.
Right, so basically it causes, water gets into your throat, causes a spasm that you can't breathe anymore, but none of it gets into your lungs. So that's pretty interesting that it was a dry drowning if she was found in a huge water tank.
Ugh. But
she was found floating face up. So that's weird because usually when bodies are found in water, they're floating face down. And there's I can't remember the exact reason that she was found face up, but she was. So when authorities arrived on the scene, they had been searching for her for 3 weeks. It was a pretty big deal that they found her. And they tested for every drug except for rape drugs, which is interesting because her anus was prolapsed. But also they didn't do a rape kit on her as well. And I can see maybe why they didn't, because she had been in water for 3 weeks and maybe they weren't able to tell. But still, at least try it, you know?
When I first heard this case, that's absolutely the first thing that came to my mind, is someone, maybe raped her and while she was, took her clothes and dumped her in a water tank.
Right.
That's what it sounds like. But they're calling it an accident/suicide.
Yeah, the suicide was another theory thrown out there because none of her depression medications were found in her body during the autopsy. And so they think that maybe because she wasn't on her meds, she had a manic episode, and that could have explained her behavior on the elevator. Had a manic episode, was going crazy, and decided to kill herself.
That's the worst way to decide to kill yourself. How does she even know? I don't think... Maybe she went up to throw herself off the building, maybe, and she saw those and went, maybe that sounds better.
Yeah,
I don't know. I really don't. I don't understand suicide thoughts at all. That's not me. I'm sure it happens to a lot of people. I just don't understand it.
Right. For those of you that have that kind of stuff, we feel for you. We personally don't understand it, and so we don't want to say anything that could potentially offend anybody.
Right.
But yeah, we feel you. Definitely, if you're going through that kind of stuff, we encourage you to get support and tell somebody about it so that you can get help.
Faux show.
Right. But I do remember hearing that her blog at times was very depressing. Like, she would post really depressing stuff saying, like, I don't even want to get out of bed today. Why am I alive? And so I'm sure at times she maybe did have those kind of thoughts.
I'm sure she did if she was on that much medication. I heard that one of the medications she was on was even a study drug. Is that what they called it?
Like
it was in testing kind of thing?
Yeah, like a clinical trial or something.
Right.
Yeah, I had heard that. I couldn't corroborate it, but that's very possible.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's just different. And another thing we forgot to mention about the water tanks is how big were there's little, I don't know, square. Were they square?
Like
trap
hatch,
lids,
yeah.
Hatch. That's the word I'm looking for. Hatches. That's how you get in and out of the water tanks. But they were not big.
No.
They were very small. Like, I couldn't fit in those.
Yeah, if you just look up Cecil Hotel water tank, there's a bunch of pictures of, like, the authorities on the roof, like, doing the extraction of her body and investigating the tanks. And you can see clearly on the top there's, a square lid on each of the 4 tanks. Yeah, I mean, I could maybe... I'm a pretty big dude, and I could maybe fit in one of those, but she was a pretty small, like 5'1", like 110-pound Asian chick, so I could see how she could. But then again, they say that the doors are like 60 pounds, so she would have had to...
Really?
Yeah. She would have had to lift the door up, and then... I mean, because it's solid metal.
I did not know that it was solid metal.
Yeah, so she would have had to lift this 60-pound, like, on top of the thing, lift the 60-pound door up, drop herself inside, and then close it.
Yeah, it was closed. That's the weird thing. I understand how the rest of it is possible. Yeah, you can lift it up. Yeah, you can get in. But once you're in there...
How do you close it?
It's if you think about it, you have the top of the tank, and the hatch is now laying on top of the tank in another direction. From the inside, you cannot
you couldn't
reach
just
out
reach
and
up
grab that, especially
lift
for how
60
heavy.
pounds of metal as a small
It's not even
Asian
lifting.
woman.
It's with the angle of, what do you want to call it, torque?
Right.
You can't do it.
Right, yeah. I mean, even for a strong man, it would be hard.
I'd like to think I have a little bit of heft, a bit more than Elisa Lam,
I would hope
and
so.
I can't do it. Guarantee you. I wouldn't
Right.
be able to budge something like that. I don't even think I could reach it. We don't even know how high the water level was, do we?
Right, no, we don't know how high the water level was. I mean, they're pretty big tanks, but I would assume that at a hotel, there were only 4 of them up there.
Yeah.
I don't know how they fill those, like how often they fill the tanks or anything, but I would imagine that when they found her, they were fairly full because the maintenance man was able to see her when he opened the tank. So I would imagine she was fairly close to the top.
But that's after 3 weeks.
Right. That's
Obviously, they hadn't checked it in 3 weeks.
Right,
And
right.
a lot of water gets used in 3 weeks.
That's true. So yeah, we don't know what the water level was. I personally don't see the suicide angle just because it was closed. I also don't see the accidental drowning angle because I don't see how you could accidentally throw yourself in there and shut the hatch. Plus, the other crazy thing is that the only way up to the roof was through a hatch that was like heavily locked down.
I did not know that.
And so you had to have a key to open it. And also, if you opened it, it was a fire escape. It would have set off a fire alarm.
Really?
Which was never set off, yeah.
Well, let's be real. That was a pretty crappy motel.
Right.
A hotel. It's possible that... My gosh. It's possible that the fire alarm wasn't working correctly. Or the tripping mechanism.
Right, but you still had to have a key.
Right.
So, one of the prevailing theories for this is that there's the maintenance man that finds her in the tank. I don't know how many maintenance men there were, or if it's the same maintenance man that's referenced, but one of the main theories is that she was killed by one of the maintenance men that lived at the hotel. He was a Hispanic man, I don't remember his name, but that he was the one that took her up there because he had access to the roof. He could open the tank and throw her in and shut the door on it. So yeah, that's potentially one way, but yeah, it was locked down, heavily secured. and it would have set off an alarm. So, like, two things that, like, one, she wouldn't have had the key just as a guest, and two, the fire alarm was never set off. So...
3, how'd she find her way up there? I'm sure it wasn't the easiest thing.
Right. I'm sure it's in a locked closet, like, the ladder to get up there is in a locked closet, or something like that.
Something along the similar lines, yes. It's
right.
not just widely, publicly there.
Right.
And what is this, 12 floors, you said?
Yeah, 12 floors tall. So
I'm sure she wasn't... The odds of her room being on the... That's the other weird thing we forgot to talk about. How she was originally in a room with a bunch of people in those community rooms.
Right. And
ended up getting kicked out.
I don't know much about that. Do you know any of the details?
Yeah, so basically there were some rooms that were a lot bigger than the other hotel rooms there, and what they were for was like people like her that didn't have as much money and didn't really care about what kind of room they got. So, and like, let's say 5 or 10 people came in all by themselves, they could all get entry to this one room. So they're all sharing this one room, kind of like there's just cots.
So kind of like a more of like a hostel style room then?
Right.
Okay.
Right. So just a bunch of cots lined up next to each other, and everyone shares it. It's a much cheaper. You're not going to be in there most of the time anyway, because you're probably going to be out in the city, so it's cheaper, so why not just do that? Well, she was originally in one of those, but apparently she got complained about. That doesn't sound right.
Wasn't like erratic behavior or something?
Something. Anyway, a lot of the other people in the room complained to hotel staff about how she was behaving. It was weird. They felt unsafe, and the hotel staff ended up taking her and putting her in her own room alone. That's not really saying anything. It is just something to take into notice that she was maybe acting erratically and strangely and along those lines, which again could be because maybe she wasn't on her meds. Maybe she was. Maybe she was dadgum possessed. We don't know. But that is just one thing to take into consideration. Sorry for interrupting.
Bringing out the demons on him. But yeah, so definitely there's reports of erratic behavior before she goes into the elevator. And then her erratic behavior on the elevator. People usually try and dismiss that by her not taking her meds.
I feel like people are using that for every excuse, though. Which, I mean, yes, it could be that reason. But you can't just say that for everything. She got kicked out of her room. Oh, it's because of the meds. She ended up in watching. Oh, it's because of her meds. She was acting weird in the elevator because of her meds. Like, okay, you gotta have some other arguments.
Right. But, I mean, the blatant thing that sticks out to me with this whole case is the autopsy process and how she had a prolapsed anus, first of all, which could be a definite sign of sexual assault. They don't do a rape kit on her at all, which, why not? Like, what are you going to lose from doing a rape kit on her? Nothing. You only stand to gain something by doing that, like finding evidence. Second, they don't test for any rape drugs either. And a lot of the rape drugs could be drugs that kind of make you go crazy and do crazy things, you know? So that could have been a cause of her erratic behavior as well.
I just remembered a few more things we missed. One, remember that expert we listened to on body language?
Yeah.
Regarding that Elisa Lam hotel video. Holy crap, it's happening again. Hotel video. One thing he did mention was some of her body language suggested sexual desire. Could that be associated with being drugged?
Right.
Like a date rape kind of drug.
Right. Possibly, yeah.
But I don't believe that guy. That guy was...
He was kind of off his rocker.
Yeah. We listened to an expert on body language watched that video, and he's like, oh yeah, she's showing sexual tension and desire for someone that's off screen. I'm like, no, she's bringing demons in, dude. That's not sexual desire. She's freaking nuts. She looked really freaking distressed.
Yeah, I would say if my wife ever did any of that behavior, it would be a major turnoff to me. It's like so creepy. I would just be freaked out, dude. I absolutely love my wife, and she is an angel, but that's just creepy behavior, and it would be weird. Like, I would be freaked out.
Yeah, that guy was not right. Anyway, just something to bring to mind. Another thing we need to mention. I don't know as much about this, but I think it's worth mentioning how maybe she met a boy through her blogging experience. Do you remember anything about that?
Vaguely. Keep going. I might remember.
Okay. From what I can't remember if I heard, read, saw. I don't know. She, as we mentioned before, she was a blogger, and rumor says somebody said somewhere that she had started talking to a boy that she had met through this blog, and not a lot, there were some speculations that maybe she was meeting up with him in LA. That's pretty much as far as it goes. There's not much more than that because we have no evidence of any of that, but that could possibly be tied to the whole date rape murder scenario. If you meet a guy online, happens all the time. Unfortunately, again, rumors, grain of salt, all that. But it is something that did come up when I was doing whatever the things.
But yeah, that's kind of the overview of the case. There's a lot of speculation out there, so you have to be careful with what you read about it. But definitely go watch the video. That's the one thing that is concrete about the whole thing.
What we have that's concrete is she went to the hotel, she acted really weird in the elevator, and she
apparently
then
before that as well.
We still don't have concrete evidence.
True.
All we have concrete is she acted freaking weird in that elevator, and 3 weeks later she was dead in the water tank.
Right.
Those are the facts, and sadly that's it. We don't have anything more to go off of.
Right. And it's still ruled today as an accidental drowning. For me, that is complete bogus.
Oh, absolutely. That's not...
I much more see it as like a sexually motivated crime / murder than anything.
Honestly, I see it more as something demon-like than an accidental drowning.
Right. But I mean, with the history of the hotel, the 2 serial killers that went on their killing sprees while they stayed there, it could be another serial killer, following in their footsteps. It could be something paranormal. Could be a combination of the two. But it's a very weird case. We encourage you to look into it and watch the video. Obviously,
at your own discretion.
Right, and just be careful with anything like that where you're dealing with demonic or things that could potentially invite that kind of stuff into your life. Just be careful with it, but definitely look into it. It's a really interesting case, and really fun and interesting to do a deep dive on it. I just kind of feel like heavy after talking about this case.
Yeah.
It just takes a toll on you mentally.
What I just got thinking about just 2 minutes ago, I was like, man, we got a lot of comments on our last episode that we were actually funny, and I got like that, and I got thinking now, I'm like, man, we aren't funny at all right now. This is freaking dark and depressing.
It's like,
and I feel bad about that because we try to be a lighthearted podcast, but I don't know, maybe this will help. Oh, I'm getting allergies.
Shooting up his nasal spray.
I'm getting allergies, okay?
Maybe it's also...
What in my throat? That tastes terrible. Sorry, keep going.
I was just going to say, maybe it's also the food we ate.
Oh, sheesh. We just downed 2 pounds of meat.
It was bad. It was a mistake. But
for all of you meat lovers out there, Arby's, please sponsor us, has something called... the Meat Mountain. It is not on the menu. You cannot find it on the menu. It's about $10, $11-ish. But it comes with literally every single meat they sell on one sandwich. And it is a lot of food.
Yep. Don't take it lightly.
Get a drink. Get a drink. It kept getting stuck.
We will tell you now, it is a mistake.
It is a mistake. Definitely a mistake.
It's definitely a mistake.
Do I regret this mistake?
I don't know, do you?
A little bit.
I do. But then at the same time, I don't.
I'm glad we had this
because it was
experience.
delicious. But that might be why we're moving a little slow right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the Elisa Lam case. Let us know what you guys think. If you have any other information about it, it hasn't been officially... Well, it's been officially solved in the sense that they have a cause of death. Accidental drowning. But we know, or we feel like we know, that that's not what happened and that justice hasn't been served. So if you have any information or anything you'd like to add to what we've said, definitely shoot us an email, tangentpodcast@outlook.com.
We need to try this social media thing again.
We do.
I think people are more prone to stuff like that.
Right.
The chillins these days,
Yeah.
All fandangled in their new machineries.
Their computertronic devices.
I know you kids in your flying machine.
Yep. Yeah, we do have an email.
We do, yes.
Social media to
Not
come.
soda. One sec.
TBA. Hook me up.
What do you want?
Oh, man. Oh, grab it.
Yeah, you grab it your dang self. Oh, yeah, I want that. Never mind. We like to pride ourselves in being a very easygoing, casual... Just open that bad boy. Oh, gosh.
Well, you got mad at me for making computer noises with the cable earlier.
Well, you just kept doing it. Just... Yeah, we like to pride ourselves in being a very casual, easygoing, non-scripted podcast. So you will hear us occasionally crack open a cold one with the boy. Because there's only one other of us.
Sodas.
As far as you know.
Yeah, if you want to donate to the Do Fund.
The Do Fund.
Yeah.
I almost threw up.
We've got that Do Fund set up, so
Yes.
we want to donate to our beverage experience.
We're dead serious about that. I could post a link in the show notes if you really want to donate. What are cans nowadays? 65 cents.
Yep.
65 cents would be gratefully
Wow.
greatly appreciative. That's what I was trying to say.
Wow.
It's happening again.
For those of you that tuned in last week, you learned that Jack can't talk.
Not even a little bit.
Wow, we're gonna have to mute those out, my friends.
We might have to. Okay.
Jack's a little gassy.
Oh, I'm making weird noises out of my throat.
My goodness, that's disgusting. All right, well,
I can't stop looking at that guy with his 13-year-old Altoids.
dude, I was thinking the same thing. He looks a little too excited to be eating 13-year-old Altoids. We should watch that real quick.
Right now?
Pull it up, yeah.
All right. You want sound? Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to watch some 13-year... Oh, this is a 13-minute video.
Oh, it's Rhett and Link.
No, it is Rhett and Link.
We'll watch it later.
Yeah. Rhett and Link, please sponsor us.
Yes.
All right. That's all we have on Elisa Lam. Trying to end it lightheartedly, apparently.
Give us a dad joke, Jack.
Oh, crap. I should have known this was coming.
Keep it clean.
I was about to say one, but is the crab one not clean?
The crab one?
The
Oh, no, you can say that one. That one's funny.
All right. What's the difference between an old bus stop and a crab with implants?
I don't know, Jack.
Well, one's a crusty bus station, and the other's a busty crustacean.
It's a good joke. Oh, man.
I love it. It's almost
boy.
as good as the chicken sedan, dude. I lose it every time on chicken sedan.
I do, too. And then Taylor's joke from last week.
That was not a joke. That was so
just
sad.
A dumpster fire. That was awful.
Go back and listen to those if you haven't. It's bad, and that's what we pride ourselves in. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna die. That freaking meat's trying to come back up.
Okay, let's just end this now. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening. To catch us next time. Enjoy your week.